This is Android Basics, in which we bring you up to date on the things that you should know to use your Android phone.
Let's then move on along to our next segment, and we're talking about our Android Basics segment. And we're talking about the ones I mentioned. We're talking about the fixes that the QPR 3 brought along with it, and we're also talking about some of the new features, and we'll be touching a little bit also on Android 14 Beta 3.1. Let's get started. John, are you excited about QPR 3? Because this is something that, whether one was enrolled in the QPR program or not, if you have a Pixel device, of course, you get that feature drop for June, and you don't have to be part of the QPR. But so we come to the close of that QPR program.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not excited about it, but that's just because my Pixel right now is in the Android 14 beta and my main phone is my Samsung phone. So I'm not going to really get to play around with this stuff too much.
Yeah, and some of the QPR things, though, part of them are also in the Android 14. Let's go ahead, though, and talk about some of the fixes or the categories of the fixes that came along with this June feature drop. And of course, we're talking about if you have Pixel 4a, 4a 5G, Pixel 5, Pixel 5a, Pixel 6 series, 6 Pro and the A, and then the Pixel 7 series. That's where you get this. And if you have something else, this is not for you, but occasionally, manufacturers like Samsung also has their own stuff that they will drop or get some features from here. And I think Samsung just pushed out something, especially the June update with some camera fixes. So if you have a Samsung, you are not left out in the cold. You're being taken care of. But let's talk about the categories that got fixed in this feature drop. We got audio, we got battery, Bluetooth, camera, display and graphics, we got framework, sensors, we got system, then we have telephony, so having to do with the phone and all of that. We got the user interface, and in these, there are some 18 fixes. And I think we ought to kind of list some of these fixes, here. And they include adding option to display animation, for pin entry on lock screen. This one has brought that alongside with it. And fix for issues causing app titles to occasionally appear truncated or cut off. That also got a fix. There was a fix of causing certain grouped notifications to appear rounded at the corners. That got a fix. There's also a fix that causes tinting or shading over app drawn in certain conditions, and that got fixed. There's also a fix for an occasional causing device to become unresponsive. And we've heard of some of these things especially on our mailing list, where some people say something is not responding or unlocking can be very iffy. That also got a fix. There's also a fix for that occasional cause that the keyboard basically causes the keyboard to not appear when navigating to the let's say I want to go, search for something. Sometimes the keyboard doesn't pop up. That also got a fix. There's a fix for the occasional lock screen notifications. I don't use notifications on my lock screen, but there are people who do. And sometimes that problem was causing things to overlap with the lock screen icons. That got fixed. There's also a fix for the occasional cause the screen lock to display a charging status when there's even not like your power plugged in or whatever, but it says I'm charging when it is not. So, and like these things are not always for everyone. Like in other words, it's not everyone observing that, but maybe enough people had those problems to where they push out those fixes. So if you've not been seeing that, it doesn't mean it didn't happen with some people. So that is fixed. There's also a fix here for the occasional cause where the notifications area tend to appear hidden or blank in notification shade, and that got fixed. And then there's an occasional fix where it causes notifications to overlay outside the bounds of the notification shade. And, sometimes some of these things, like I said, are visuals. Those of us who are blind may not be seeing those things, but those with sight can see those things. Then we got a fix for issue occasionally causing volume controls pan to cut off at the bottom. Let's say you're navigating, you want to see what all the volume control has. Sometimes some people have noticed that there's a cutoff at the bottom, so you're not seeing all the features. That also got fixed. We got a fix for the occasional cause where the wallpaper tends to disappear when opening or closing notification shade. That got fixed. We got another fix for the occasional prevention of the keyboard from displaying when notification shade is expanded. I don't know what that means, but like I said, some of these things I don't see those on my own, but I guess someone or a lot of people see it enough to where Google had to push those updates for. Then we got fixes for occasional mobile networks. Sometimes the icon from the display area kind of like it disappears in the status bar. So that got fixed. There's also a fix for the occasional prevention of the quick settings button that kind of fail to respond when people touch on them. I haven't observed that, but some people have. So let's say you pull down your quick panel and you want to tap on something and it's not responding. That also got fixed. That's a fix for issue occasionally preventing the quick settings from expanding. Say you want to expand your quick settings or quick panel. For us, we swipe from right to left to expand to move to page 2 or page 3. And I've heard some people talk about the fact that they were not able to do that on our mailing list. So maybe some of these people are the people that were affected. You now have that fixed. There's also a fix for the occasional work profile account onboarding to begin during first setup. So, if you have different profiles set up on your device, sometimes that kind of gets a little bit iffy. And so Google fixed that. Then fix to improve lock screen touch. Sometimes people have some sensitivity problems, and that also got fixed to where it now works better. And so those are some of those things that got fixed there. Then we got the Wi-Fi, which is another category that got fixed. And that will be the things that got fixed, though, for these fixes. So like I said, in all the 30 of them. And does anyone want to make any comment about these ones or something here that you'd like to talk about, before we move to new features?
I don't have a comment myself, but I feel like if Ed were here, he would say, of course everything was broken because it was a pixel.
Yeah, but everyone knows Ed is a knucklehead.
No, but everything is
I
broken
won't
because
disagree
it's a
with
Fisher
that.
price. It's a Fisher price.
Austin got it. It's because it's
Yeah.
the Fisher price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ed would not have
Fisher
called it
price.
a pixel. He would have called it Fisher price.
Exactly. But what can we say? It's Ed. And Austin seems to be kind of following in Austin's Ed's footsteps, always having this whatever.
Yeah, because I have to follow him because we are a member of Commonwealth.
Yeah, you're trying to be an antagonist, and yet in the same breath, you can't wait to get a pixel. That's an oxymoron.
I cannot wait to get a pixel so that I can complain about it.
Austin, your statement about being part of the Commonwealth, so you have to be on Ed's side.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I have to be
that's a fallacy.
on that side.
That's a fallacy.
I have to be at the side of all the Britishers.
But that's a fallacy because I'm in a part of the Commonwealth and I'm not on Ed's side.
So then Canada should be removed out of the Commonwealth.
Canada should be taken out of the Commonwealth. If Canada is taken
Yeah.
out of the Commonwealth, then the Commonwealth is broken. They won't have money.
I'm not on Ed's side either. Just saying.
And that's a problem because you're in Ed's territory.
Yeah.
I'm in London as well. Yeah, so
So
you
I'm
know.
in both Ed's and Fee's territory.
Yes. So maybe you half agree with him and you half agree with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
So
about actual features though? Like that are real rather than joking about pixels.
So before the actual features, I wanted to make a comment that Google has fixed all the categories in, like, when you're building a ROM, this is the order of the folders of the source code. So Google has fixed all the categories in the source code. And for those of you who were in the QPR program, this is your best time to sign out of the program so that your data is not wiped. Because if you don't sign out, then Google might push you into the Android 14 QPR program.
let's move on to the new features that come along with the Pixel drop. And the first one, though, has to do with emojis. You guys tend to like emojis. I know Austin does like emojis, and my friend Alan in Malaysia loves emojis. I don't care about them, but we got the emoji and cinematic wallpapers that come to us from the emoji or whatever workshop, and then we also have those wallpapers that gives you that experience. You can create things like the regular 2D into 3D and all of that. You guys like doing emojis? Fee, do you like emojis?
Emojis, yes. Wallpapers, don't care. Can't see them. I want an emoji of a man digging a hole. I think for some conversations I'm involved in, I think that would be appropriate.
I can see how a man can be digging a hole, but by golly, I don't think I want that kind of an emoji.
Oh, I think it'd be. I've had various conversations where I've thought, why is this not a thing? I want this as an emoji, a man digging a hole. And then I'll just write, "Stop now,"
Yeah. And these things, they are AI powered and all of that. So AI is everywhere. So if you like men digging, you could like this one. Get your digger out and be able to know how to dig, right? Fee?
I'm not even. Oh
So-
dear. Okay, I like things like emojis, like smiley faces, or doing thumbs up and heart shapes and things. I do like them, but I usually just use one or two. Some people they'll send you a message and it'll be just a load of different emojis, like whoa, what? And it gets a bit much. But yeah, I like them, but I'm not massively bothered about them. But but I would probably use them. As I say, if there was a man digging a hole one, I'd use that all the time, right? But
I love that. I never heard of
But-
that till today because I'm not an emoji kind of person.
well, there isn't one as far as I know. And although if one of the listeners says finds there is one, please get in touch, tell us, because I want to know. But wallpapers, I guess, my mum has one on her main screen of their cat that she's died, unfortunately, but she has the cat on her screen, so she knows it's her phone and stuff. If you're blind, it doesn't really add much to the experience, really, does it? So
Yeah, I'm right
No.
there with you. I use emojis to talk in conversations, but I have no interest in having them on my home screen. I have a little bit of vision, but I just set my background to be boring, plain black so that I can tell where my icons are. If there's any sort of picture to it or anything, it just makes it more difficult for me. So yeah, I don't even have any interest in that either.
But yeah, wallpapers and emojis are different things, and I think it's important to maybe you can use emojis within wallpapers, I don't know, but they are two different things.
Yeah. For me, my wallpaper is just a boring Google Blue. The next one has to do with macro focus video. Now, this has been a Pixel 7 Pro exclusive feature, but Google is updating the camera app to let you record video using its macro mode. And so this is something that also has come to other phones, that you can truly get absolutely stunning good looking close-up pictures and videos and things like that. So it's no longer an exclusive to the Pixel 7. So like I said, some of these things are not necessarily for us, but we do participate in pictures and videos as well. So John, don't you like taking pictures? I like taking pictures.
Yeah, I didn't care too much about it until I had a son, and now I'm taking pictures of him and recording videos of him, mostly to share with other people. But yeah, so any camera improvements I'm happy with. I mean, if it means that, as long as a lot of it's automatic, like if I get, for example, if this macro mode kicks in, if I'm too close to something I'm recording and I don't realize it, I can't see that it's getting blurry. If that macro mode kicks in and all of a sudden it's recording clear, even though I'm really close to something, that's a huge bonus for me, because I don't know how anything's going to come out when I'm recording a video. I just put my phone over there and hope I get it, and then when I share it later on to somebody sighted, I'll find out if I got it or not.
Yeah, if it helps us to be able to take better videos, that would be good. I don't do it often because it would just be things like I'm in the garden. Yeah, it would be good if it makes it so that when we do want to video something, it makes a better video. So John, you can tell us as you use this more, maybe whether it's helped you. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. The next one, though, has to do with it has to be a Pixel 6 or later, and it's the palm timer. So you can use your palm to do those selfies, set it as a timer to where you could raise your palm and it will start the timer for either 3 or 10 seconds. And basically, Google says you can raise your palm to say, I'm ready. I don't know. So you kind of have to set that phone on like a tripod or whatever. You want to take a selfie, or maybe you have a bunch of a bunch of others with you and things like that. But so it's a nice feature to have, because sometimes you got to hold the phone and try to stretch your arm and maybe say, hey, cheese, or whatever command you can give it. But I can see how useful this can be if you have a tripod and you put it on that tripod and just simply raising up your palm to say, take that picture. I see that as a very good thing.
Just remember to bring your palm down after the timer stops, or won't be a very good picture.
Yeah, does it give you a few seconds once you've raised your palm? Because
Well,
otherwise
it
you
gives
just
you
have a load of
3 to 10.
pictures.
You can set it up for 10 seconds or 3 seconds.
Because otherwise you'd have a load of photos with your hand in the air, like.
Yeah.
Do you think you can change it? Like, because sometimes if it's raising your palm, like 10 seconds is too long. Everyone's like, hasn't it done it yet?
Exactly.
Can you change it to 5 seconds or 3 seconds or something?
Yeah, you can. So it's between
yeah.
3 and 10 seconds. So you choose.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, between 3 and 10 seconds.
Oh, very good.
The next one has to do with the Google car crash safety check. And I particularly like this because, you can basically, what you can do is schedule a safety check. In other words, say I'm driving to Idaho, for example, and, I could schedule a safety check, say, every hour or whatever, do a safety check with my people back home, and it will let them know where I'm at. So I kind of like that whole idea, and or most especially if you have someone that they're not very sound in mind or whatever, you could set this thing up with them, so you're having that checkup on them to see to be sure that they're doing well as they travel, or something like that. I like that idea.
So if I've got, I don't know, my dad, say, it wouldn't be because he's got an iPhone, but say if I was doing this with my dad, what kind of a message would I get? Would it have his location and his speed or something? Or what does it send you? Or is it a text message, or do you have to have a certain app, or what? How does it work?
That has to do with notifying the people, like if you're traveling, for example, it will let them know, hey, okay, you are now approaching this area, and it shows them your real-time location, so they are in tune with you. Like you mentioned your dad, for example, say maybe he's traveling from London to some place, and you want to, know that, hey, dad is approaching this XYZ place and all of that. So you could set that, and to where it would tell you if you want it either hourly or half hour, whatever. It all depends on how you want it. But or you can say, hey, check on this. Let me know where he's at, and it will do that.
So is it within an app, or how does it send
It's
you the
in
message?
it'll be in the safety area.
In your
So in your
settings
settings, you will
thing,
find that
yeah.
in there. Yeah.
Oh, and presumably then it would just come up as a notification from settings or from safety or something.
Yeah. So
If it did it every hour or something, you would get a notification.
how you want it to, because like, for example, when my wife was traveling to Ohio, my wife and my daughter traveling to Ohio last summer, we had that location, sharing turned on, and I can just bring up, tap on her name in my contacts, and it will show me where she's at, driving, there at so and so place. But so things like that, I think it's a very good idea, because nowadays you never know what could happen.
And presumably she has to give, or whoever you're tracking has to give permission and say, yes, it's okay.
Yeah.
You can't just do it without someone's consent unless you're a really dodgy person. You shouldn't do that without someone's consent. That's not cool.
No. It's someone will share. You share it with the people. So you got to initiate that.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know, because I think for listeners as well, because they might have people in their family and want to make check if their journey's going okay without keep messaging them all the time and stuff. So yeah.
So yeah, I just have one question for you, Warren. Why the hell are you driving to Idaho?
Yeah, good question.
Well, I love Idaho, though. It's our neighbor. And
but why are you driving? Are you doing what the political advisor in this country did when he had COVID in the lockdown in 2020, where he drove a car to test his eyesight?
When he couldn't see well. Well, I'm just giving an example. Well, I wouldn't be driving,
The laws in Idaho are very relaxed. You can
I mean,
if you're 3 years old or higher, you can drive.
You could get away with driving in there.
I was gonna say, the state probably doesn't care if you're driving, but I think everyone else might.
I have to first get out of Washington first, though, and then.
It ain't hard.
What I like is that my Google Maps will tell me you're now entering the state of Idaho. The next one has to do with, car crash emergency. You know how that, the car crash emergency sharing used to be that it shares it with your, like emergency workers. Now you have the ability to also have your family or whoever you want to be notified in the event of a crash. And so I think that's a good thing to have. Just besides, having the emergency workers, you can also include a family member.
Yeah, presumably you set that up beforehand so that if you have a crash, it
you set that up.
Yeah.
So it will let them know, hey, your loved one just crashed. It gives you the location.
Warren just crashed his car. He didn't even get to Idaho.
Yeah, exactly. That Google car. I can't wait for that, though.
Yeah.
The next one has to be the redesigned Google Home on the lock screen. And we talked about this a little bit last week. And actually, we spent a little bit of time on it. I shouldn't say a little bit. We actually spent some time on it with some of the things. Now, you can now have better control of items relating to your home controls, such as, say you want to do your house locks or, cameras, etc., etc. You now have the ability of better managing those in this drop. Next item, talk about recorder. The Google recorder, get those speaker labels, something that was talked about a little while ago. Now, finally, it's here with this feature drop, and it's one of those new features. So in other words, if you're using the Google recorder and doing some recording, like we're recording right now, for example, if we were using that Google recorder, it should be able to label what speaker is saying what and things like that. So I kind of like that whole idea. Does anyone find that useful?
So if you're recording a meeting, you mean? So it would, I don't know what you mean really, label
Yeah,
the speakers.
That's exactly what he means. Like if say you're in a meeting and you want to record it, you just hit record on your phone. It'll transcribe everything that's being said, and it'll recognize that people are different from each other, and it'll say like speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3, and then you can go in later and change the names of the speakers.
So would it write it out for you almost like a script? Like
Yes.
It
Yeah.
Warren, I
transcribes.
like driving to Idaho.
Exactly.
John, that's probably a bad idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
it's
it
a text
is.
transcription service.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's both.
Okay.
It records the actual audio for you, and
Yeah, but then it
saves those.
transcribes
Yeah, exactly.
afterwards.
So the next one, though, and I don't know why this didn't come to other phones, but we're talking about smarter haptics on the Pixel 6a and 7a. This came with the 7a, and now these other phones have it, but I don't know why this is only limited to this the 6a and the 7a. Why not bring it to the 7 Pro or the regular 7? And so we're talking about these haptics that, if your phone is on the table and it vibrates, it knows it's on the table, so it's not going to make too much noise. And I really like that, because sometimes you're in a meeting and someone's phone on the table and it makes such awful vibration. I hate
because
those things.
the 7A has the sensor for that. It has the sensor to judge where the phone is. So it's using AI.
Exactly.
And the 6A has a sensor, but the others don't.
And so it's just very interesting that these phones have that. And, my very expensive 7 Pro doesn't have it.
I don't understand what sensor it has that needs it. I mean, all these phones have accelerometers. They know that they're not moving and that they're laying flat on a table. So I'm a little confused, just like you, Warren. I don't understand why you couldn't have implemented this in all the Pixel phones, really.
So it has some depth sensor in the camera. It knows that it's on a surface or what type of surface it is. It's depth camera versus and plus AI.
Well, it's got microphones as well, so surely if it was vibrating and it was really loud, it would go, "Oh, that's a bit loud. I'll go quiet.
Yeah, but
I'll
then
vibrate a bit more
it would
quietly."
not know that it's on a surface.
Well, yeah, it would, because the sound would vibrate in the wood of the table.
Oh, so are you saying it uses the depth sensor to know if it's on a hard surface?
Yeah, the depth sensor that it knows it's on a surface. Yeah.
Sounds a bit overkill.
That makes a
to
little
me.
more sense.
I paid like $1,100 for my godforsaken phone. It should have that stuff. You know what I mean? And lousy
agree.
Pixel 6a or lousy Pixel 7a having that, and I don't have it. Come on, man.
Well, I once had a phone that vibrated off a high shelf into the bath, and this was in the days before waterproof phones. That was a sad day.
And that one would be gone with the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Had to get
falling
it
in water,
replaced.
it's gone. Yeah,
Yeah. Nowadays, it would be okay. You could dry your phone as long as it was a, high-end phone, and it would be all right.
exactly.
But yeah, not sort of 5 or 6 years ago. That was it was playing music and then it wasn't, and that was bad.
The next item is the adaptive charging. So it's getting more adaptive, so to speak. So your Pixel phone now has that adaptive charging that we used to have, but it's better. It uses the Google AI now to, predict when a long charging session is about to start based on your previous charging habits and things like that. So if it detects such a session, it will kick in during your charging. So I like that.
So is what's new to this? It's just the AI part, because before it would know, like, if you had adaptive battery turned on and you had your alarm set for 7, it would know, okay, I'm just gonna charge to 85% and then
Yeah,
or whatever, and then like at 6:30 I'm gonna start slowly charging so that when his alarm goes off it'll be fully charged. But I'm assuming now it'll use AI and it'll say like, this guy never uses an alarm, but he seems to always get up at 7, so I'm gonna finish topping off his
exactly.
battery at 6:30. Okay, gotcha.
And so the goal here is to extend the lifespan, of your battery. That's the goal here, because whether we believe it or not, just putting that thing on there and go to bed and, the thing is full and it's just sitting there, it's not very good for my battery. So I like the fact that we're having these type of things to, make battery works better for us. And talking about battery, did you guys read something about the European Union saying, hey, people need to be able to replace their batteries? And frankly, I like what the Europeans are doing. I can't wait to see us having those removable batteries again. It may
That
not
would be
happen
great,
soon, but yeah, I would love to see that come back.
because it was a lot cheaper apart from anything else, and also you could actually have a spare battery for your phone. Like if you knew you were going away for a weekend camping or something, you could charge up both batteries before you went and take them both.
Yeah.
So the battery removal, it was cheaper, but some people, at least in India, they used to use very like duplicate low quality batteries to put in their phones, and that would explode. So that
Yeah, well,
then
that's
they would say
their
the
fault.
no, then they would say that the company is causing the phones to explode and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, but it always used to say only use batteries made by our company. So if people
Exactly.
don't do that, that's stupid. That's their own fault.
Or it will say something, use those approved by the company.
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
I don't follow that, then you have nothing to blame the company for.
No, that's just silly, isn't
No.
it?
So Indians, you quit doing that.
Yeah.
You're
So
just muddying the
maybe
water.
they should bring back the removable battery, but then they should set some sensor or something inside that the phone would not boot up when a person uses unapproved batteries.
I don't think
Well,
people are going to like that. No, I don't think people are going to
I
like
just
that.
think people just need to stop being silly.
Yeah.
People don't, you can't look after everyone against being silly. If people are going to do stupid things,
Yeah, you
it's
should
their own
have the
fault.
right to use whatever battery you want. If you want to make
Exactly.
the
You want
choice
your
to
phone to blow up?
get a
Yeah,
cheap battery, yeah, you just can't blame the company. That's the only thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the last item here, one of the 10 new features will be the new 2 voices that came to the Google Assistant. And I'm not sure if this is only in the US or not, but, we have 2 new voices that, debuted on the Assistant. I know they had it before, maybe a week before the feature drop came through, but we now have that. Those 2 new voices. I haven't tried them myself.
Oh, we need a demo for the podcast, Warren.
Yeah, we probably should, but probably it's a lousy voice anyway. You know what I
You
mean?
don't know yet. You haven't tried it. And even if it's lousy, we want to hear We want to know.
Yeah.
It's a request from me, and I am a storm. I could sneeze you away. Remember,
You could
if you-
take away my phone.
yeah, if you don't do as I ask, bad things might happen. So
I'm
What
gonna
are the
have
voices called?
Well, you know how Google now doesn't want it,
colors, yeah.
genderize. I think it's I think it's a green one and something else. Yeah, one of them is green.
You should
I
do a
think
quick
it's called
demo.
lemon and something. It's called
What?
Yeah,
lemon and
I think
Yeah.
maybe yeah, I think it's lemon and green. Yeah, I think you're right.
lemon.
Yeah,
yeah, lemon and
color.
I forgot the other name.
Does the lemon
No,
one
it's
sound really
green.
sour then?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
lemon and green colors.
I got
so
them right
people-
here. If you
Yeah,
want to hear them.
yeah.
Oh,
Let's do that,
yeah,
John.
let's hear the
So they're
voices.
lime and indigo.
There we
Oh,
go.
so that's completely
lime and
wrong then.
indigo.
It's not lemon.
It was a
So-
fruit. You had that right.
Forget about lemon.
So I'm going to demonstrate the two new voices. One is lime and one's indigo. This is lime.
Here are the voices you can pick for your Google Assistant. If you like this voice and want me to keep using it, just stop here.
And here's
Oh,
indigo.
no.
Here are the voices you can pick for your Google Assistant. If you like this voice and want me to keep using it, just stop here.
Now, I haven't talked about what the feature drop has. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Android 14 Beta 3.1. And there's nothing major here. The whole idea is that the last update before this little patch update messed up, especially the Pixel 6 series fingerprint reader, and that's why they pushed this one out, but they pushed it out to everyone. But so it's exclusively was meant to be something that fixed that problem for the Pixel 6 series fingerprint reader, and that's why we have that little patch of the Android 14 Beta 3.1. So if you have a Pixel 6 series and you are observing that problem, this Beta 3.1 should have fixed that. That's what it was intended for, but it got pushed out to everybody.